Welcome to Master of Command. Today, we're going to be doing a new campaign. We are going to be playing as the British Crown and Hanover, which gives us the doctrine coffers over corpses. We get a daily subsidy of $10, but every new brigade is going to cost 25% more. Basically encouraging a taller type gameplay, more elite troops, just a smaller number of them. However, we're not going to be playing as British Expedition. Instead, we're going to be playing as Subsidy Troops. Subsidy Troops have the doctrine the Blue Shield. Fire damage received is minus 40%. However, reservist cost at settlements is going to be 75% more. Essentially, we're going to be trying to stack that negative 40% fire damage modifier as high as we can take it, possibly even 75 or 80%. And we're going to see how that has, what kind of effect that has for our troops when they're receiving fire damage. Also, we're going to try to recruit reservists in any other means possible besides settlements to overcome that malice. Our starting commander is Heinrich Wilhelm von Wutgenau. He has Eager and Brutal, which give melee and move speed. That would make an excellent grenadier commander or cavalry commander. Not as great for fusiliers or line infantry. Still not too bad for a start. Got a few okay items. We'll see how that goes. We're going to be turning on Ironman, and we are going to be using 5 negative modifiers for the campaign. Broken ranks. Shattered units lose 40% additional casualties. Basically, if a unit shatters, they're gone. We lose them. Scouting parties, enemy campaign movement speed increased by 30%. We're not going to be running away from anything anytime soon. Good news is, that's not the goal. We're here to destroy enemy armies, not run from them. Absent quartermasters. Regiment replenishment rate minus 30%. This means when a regiment takes casualties and we replenish it, it takes 30% longer to get those new troops into that regiment. Reckless officers. Officer death chance goes up by 30%. And conscript army. Unit upgrade cost plus 1. Alright. Get started here. Make a little custom save since it's Ironman. Fantastic. Von Lauden, yes, Landeshut. Not a very good battle for Frederick. Alright. So let's see what we've got here. 3 options for campaign. And of course, each campaign option has 2 other options. One is for a unit, and one is for a doctrine. And both of them are objectives you have to complete in order to achieve either of those things. We can protect Brandenburg, Schaumburg-Lippe artillery, and Carthaginian spirit. Mountain attrition and move speed penalty ignored. Protect Hesse, Royal Horse Guards join the army, and British Grenadiers doctrine is acquired. It increases recruitment costs for heavy infantry, but raises their combat effectiveness by 10%. Or you can protect Southern England, Dragoon Guards join the army, and Enlistment Officers Doctrine makes recruiting officers cheaper by 20%. Honestly, we are subsidy troops, basically German troops fighting for England. We're going to protect Hesse, and we're going to go for the British Grenadiers Doctrine and the Royal Horse Guards. I'm going to start like that. Act 1. Hesse. Alright, Act 1 is where we've really got to get the campaign on the road. Act 1 is really where you set the pace for the whole rest of your campaign. You've got to use it to the best of your ability. The good news is Act 1 gives you the most time to do things with. Alright. I'm going to take the grenades off the grenadiers. Not the biggest fan of using grenades. They're cool. They're neat. But takes a lot more micro, and I'd rather micro with my artillery and my cavalry. My grenadiers I use as shock troops, preferably in melee. Alright, we're going to give the subsidy recruits the Bibles. And I believe that's it for now for them. By the way, we are holding on to the grenades. We're not going to sell them. Grenades can be useful in sieges against forts. That may come up at a later time. Foreign musicians, morale damaged, and move speed. I believe I'm going to give that to the recruits also, so they don't just run off at the last moment. The other thing that we're going to do is give the rations, spirit rations for charge, to the Hessian Grenadiers, in addition to the heavy socket bayonet. We can give that bayonet to the recruits. Alright, not great gear to start with. Let's get the show on the road. Here we go. War is upon us. General, your army stands at the frontier. Though modest in size, your forces are disciplined and in good order. A nearby depot lies ahead, lightly defended, and will serve as a starting point to begin your campaign, though you'll need to press onward soon after. The land is open and the roads clear, ideal for seeking out skirmishes and encounters. Engage patrols boldly, even those larger than your own. Their troops are of a lower quality, and their spoils and equipment will serve your army well. We await your progress. Good, good. Now let's take a look at the map before we decide which direction we're going to head in. Here we can kind of see where our objective events are located. Alright, multiple encampments in the north. Most of the convoys also are in the north. We have a settlement where reservists are cheaper. However, for us, that helps less than it normally would. Otherwise, we have opportunities for ammo at most of these settlements, so we're going to take advantage of that. However, I believe I'm going to head up north first. So the first order of business is to get this supply cache. We only have 100 ammo. We could do that, but I'm going to do the provisions just to be sure we don't run out early on. 90 provisions, face a weak detachment. The thing to remember about this, you want to fight as many battles as you possibly can. These troops are easy. They got Chevaux de Guerre cavalry and 2 recruits. Basically, we need our recruits to get most of the kills, since those are the ones we're going to be wanting to level up. Now, we don't want to lose a battle or really get a unit destroyed or something because we're pushing too hard with the recruits. We can use the grenadiers and musketeers accordingly. Alright, take a look at the map here. We have a river, and we are going to be using it. Alright, one thing about a river is you do not want to hold it by aligning your men directly up next to the river. Instead, you want to position yourself some ways behind the river, and that allows you to fire on the enemy as they are entering the river. That is very, very effective. Far more effective than standing beside the river yourself. Alright, I'm going to move our men up. Increase speed here. Very good. Musketeers in position. Grenadiers are ready should we need them. Have the general stick with the recruits. We're going to try to draw them onto the musketeers to start with. That way the recruits can flank and cause the most damage. See how this goes. They're starting to come in range now. Crossing the river. And our musketeers are beginning to open fire on them. Beautiful. Now you'll notice their cavalry are beginning to charge our line. We're going to order them to hold fire on the volley. We're going to wait for the cavalry to get a little closer. They're opening fire, and we're returning fire now as they're close. Now bayonets go up, and they are prepared for the melee combat. Fantastic. And as you can see, their cavalry are already in retreat. Wonderful. Just how we wanted it. That's fantastic. They're focusing on our musketeers, so we're going to move the recruits up now in a flanking position. Hold our grenadiers in reserve for the moment. Recruits are already starting to get tired. They are really not that good. All right. Proceeding on. Moving our grenadiers back a little. The troops are going to be rejoining the fight. However, our recruits are now finally getting a chance to open fire on them. Need to pull them back a little more as their troops begin to approach the river yet again. Try to get a few more kills with our recruits. Our musketeers have done the lion's share of the work in this one. It's not a big deal. Not as preferable, but it'll work. And that's it. The subsidy recruits got the final volley. Awesome. Alright, that's not too bad. Not too bad a start. I apologize if I sound a little quieter here or there, or if you hear a cough or something. I'm just getting over some sort of garbage. Alright. Wonderful. Only lost 125. That's good. I'm going to go for the ransom, get some money, get some ammo, because we're going to be burning through it, I have a feeling. Nice. 2 promotions for our recruits there, or for our musketeers there. Now, the thing about these musketeers is they can become Jaegers, which is not bad. Not bad at all. So reload speed on these guys. We definitely need reload speed improvement. Not that it's going to do a whole lot. Give the Tula muskets to our grenadiers. They're not as good muskets as the Potsdams, but they're better for melee. Musketeers have Potsdam, so we're going to replace these garbage worn muskets with Potsdam muskets. That should definitely help. Alright, we're going to save some of these things for our cavalry and artillery at a later date. Won't help us as much now, but not too bad. Alright. Very good. We'll head into town here real quick. See what they have available. Hanoverian land milits, subsidy battalion artillery. Rather get recruits though. The price is somewhat prohibitive. Yes. I don't really buy items at the beginning. I do always check the gun shops, however. Considering that they may have sharpshooter or Jaeger rifles, as they're called. Quite a fantastic investment early on. Also, some of these early generals are great to form them into whatever you need them to be. Some of them are garbage, too. Wow, alright. I think we'll be getting... I think we'll get one of these redcoat recruits. Let's see what they got. We like their artillery better, or subsidy artillery. Their artillery has 30 accuracy and 50 reload. 150 men. Let's take a look. 20 accuracy, 30 reload. 150. Interesting. 20, 30, and 30, 15. I think I prefer the subsidy. I'd like to get lots of rounds downrange fast. Alright. Alright, so we're going to go without that for now. We'll hold on to our money. We will get ammo, however. It's cheaper here, so that's a good investment anyway. Reservists are minus 25%, so overall for us they're plus 50%. It's still a great opportunity. Let's do that. Alright, that'll give us a good little starting cushion, just in case we don't get more opportunities for that. I'm going to go ahead and go up north, prepare for our objectives. Get a battlefield here. We're going to commit many reservists, much better chance of succeeding that way. And if it succeeds, we get some of those reservists back. We get 70 talers and 3 weapons. Now that's nice. Light socket bayonets are really good for our grenadiers. Give them a bonus to charge. Same thing with the Zhongkoping muskets, 12 and 16, as opposed to Tula 9 and 16. Now I like the Potsdams better than the land pattern. Land pattern has more accuracy, but less range and slower reload. We're not going to change that. Alright, time to go up the road and see what we find here. That's kind of a garbage little settlement. We're going to go foraging for a moment. Some coin, much coin. We're going to spend much coin. This excellent coat, the great coats, will do very well on our grenadiers. That's excellent. It's a really good early find. Only reason we're checking this place out is to see, yeah, there we go, subsidy recruits. So we know we can't afford it yet, but we can get 3 recruits there. Gonna have to keep that in mind. I don't like spending 4 days, but a moderate chance where we might lose our officer. We only have 1 officer and he's good. We're gonna wait for it. Night raid succeeded. 1,200 reservists, 40 talers, and 2 weapons. That's not bad at all. Alright, we got some sabers. We're going to keep that for cavalry potentially in the future. Keep heading up here. Alright, fresh recruits are available. We have an enemy army, so we have some chance for some loot. Another settlement to check out. Encampment and convoy, which we need both of, so we're going to go engage this army. They're looking for a fight anyway. Let's give them one. So it says it's a little bit tougher fight. They have fusiliers, basically, line infantry, 3 recruits, and artillery. Honestly, the artillery is the biggest problem. I may decide to try to finagle with the general and deal with the artillery. We'll see how that goes. Alright. Really depends on the excuse me. Really depends on the terrain right now that we get also. We have a river and a town. Very debatable. The town gives us better cover, but the river slows them down. I think we're going to do the town. We're going to position our men to head into town. The general's going to do some finagling. It's going to be glorious. Alright. Now, if they had cavalry, I absolutely would not have him out there by himself, as he would most likely get utterly demolished. keep our grenadiers back here, set up our musketeers and our recruits such that they can help one another. That's good. 99% cover, 99% cover. That's fantastic. Let's spread out the grenadiers so they don't get hit by the artillery so bad. Hopefully they'll be 99% cover also. Yes, perfect. 99% cover. Very good. Very good. So they're opening fire on us. I believe the recruits, well, I guess they missed. That's good. All the better for us. Alright. They're definitely shooting at the recruits, though. Let's see. We're going to tell our general to handle that problem for us. Alright. Fusiliers are on the right side. I am definitely going to have the grenadiers take care of that problem. Definitely a situation for them to handle. General is taking his sweet time getting over that. Perfect. The Fusiliers don't want to deal with that. They want to deal with him. Wonderful. Alright. Opening fire on the Crown Land recruits. Hopefully the general doesn't get demolished on his way to the artillery. Alright, very good, very good. Now he can get away from there so he can get back to leading his men. Very good, very good. Awesome. Men are doing fairly well. They're trying to flank my recruits. That's not great. Musketeers are absolutely demolishing these recruits. Grenadiers are going in. Hopefully they'll get there before the enemy has a chance to fire. Being recruits, their morale shouldn't last long. And no, they are absolutely demolished. That is absolutely wonderful. Totally decimated that unit. Order them to pull back. The more units that you kill, the less reward you actually get for winning the battle. The main difference is the more kills you get, the more XP you get. So really, you want the most kills on the units that have, like your recruits, for example. We want the general to keep baiting the unit for a while because I am going to try to get more kills for the recruits. Going to see how that works. Order them to charge from their cover. And they'll get there before the enemy reloads, so that'll be perfect. Make sure to bring the grenadiers up with them. Well, I thought they'd get there before they fired. Okay, good, they do. Now you need to chase them, guys. You're not chasing them. Come on. Let's see. We may not be fast enough to catch them, considering our guys are tired. Oof. Had a little bug there. They got stuck for some reason. Alright. It's alright. The recruits are getting good kills. They are. They are. Sure, move our general again so he doesn't get taken out. Move our troops back again. Alright, let's see what they're gonna do. Not sure if their units are gonna come back or not. They might. Those Fusiliers are definitely gonna be something we have to deal with. Alright. Waiting for the general to get back over here. keeping it on fast speed. Don't want it to take too long. General's getting tired. That's okay. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. They outrange us by 5. That should mean they're still going to probably step into our range in order to do battle. Alright. Alright, good. They're starting to face our musketeers, which is exactly what I was hoping that they would do. Get a flank attack in with the recruits. Here we go. That should be a really strong attack. Very nice. Very nice. I'm getting hit from our musketeers up front. That is devastating. They're going to break soon. There's the battle. Alright, very good. We are working this out to get a little more XP. Sometimes you take a few more casualties, but it's not too big a deal. As long as you don't go overboard. Making sure your guys get upgraded. You definitely want stronger troops by Act 2. Act 2 is going to be brutal in comparison to Act 1. We did excellent though. Musketeers 500 kills, 327 for the subsidy recruits, 257 for the grenadiers, and not one of their units got more than 100 kills. Now, you'll notice their artillery already got 59. That's with us taking them out fast. They could have got a lot more kills than that. I'm glad we dealt with that problem quick. Alright, we're gonna do ransom, get the money and the ammo. That's good stuff. Nice level ups, I like that. Alright, replenish, give them more ammo. Give the move speed and morale damage replenished to the grenadiers, because I want to put the spontoons on the recruits. Help them level up faster. Trying to keep some semblance of organization down here. Now, early game, I keep these cloth and things and don't sell them because you can get free units from them. Alright, let's head up here first. We'll hit that settlement in a moment when we come back around. Get the slums. Impoverished locals. Villages on map or encounters. Yeah, we're going to pay for the encounters. That is wonderful news. As you can see now, we can see every one of these little encounters on here. All the forts. Oh, that's 3. Ooh, that's nice. Provided we can take it on. You want to try to get as much of this stuff as you can, especially in Act 1. It's brilliant to try to do that. So let's go around to this cache real quick. I'm going to do that and get some more food. Provisions, and a nice little easy fight here. Again, cavalry and 2 recruits, just like the first time. We can deal with that. That's not a problem. Alright, yes, French guards. Fun fact, a lot of guard units actually were not necessarily as great as some people think they were, primarily because they didn't get the kind of action or combat experience as line units. A lot of line units were superior. Now, that wasn't always the case. One example that would somewhat fly in the face of this was the Imperial Guard under Napoleon. Napoleon would go and take the best and the brightest and most experienced troops from the standard line units, and he would put them in his guard. Now, the downside to that is, of course, that his guard are generally in the reserve, and they don't get used very often. Which means he is keeping his very best unused. Not that that's a problem, but it also means that the rest of the army has a chance for experience. There's upsides and downsides to that. So, just a little something to keep in mind. Alright, we're going to go across the river and use that to our advantage. Has a little bit of cover over there. Makes them have to cross to get to us. I like all of those things, so that's what we're going to do. Alright. Your commander is really, really important for keeping your morale high, especially early on with your recruits and units that tend to break easily. Keep the grenadiers on the side. Keep the musketeers ready to go. I want the subsidy recruits to be flanking again. That worked out very nicely for them getting tons of kills and not a whole lot of casualties. See, normally when you're covering a river, you want your range to be something like this, where the river is near the farther part of your range. Not too far necessarily, because your shots do less damage up here than they do closer. But if you're right up on it, there's no way they're going to walk through the river. But if it's close to the edge of your and their firing radius, they're going to be much more inclined to try to walk through that river, specifically to get at you. And I'd much rather have them walking into the river getting penalties and being slowed down than my own men. So rivers can be great places to defend. And as you can see, they're about to go into the rivers right now to attack me. It's going to work out very well to my benefit. They're trying to get my grenadiers, so I'll move them out of the way. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to order them to hold fire. I don't know if we'll get a volley. If we're doing this in time enough for the cavalry, we might. We'll see here. It's going to cut it close. Come on, boys, get a volley off. Let's do it. Nice. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Almost forgot to turn the bayonets off for the mission. Alright. Cavalry is retreating. I'm going to move our troops back so our recruits can get more action. Cool, they ran off those recruits. We're going to take advantage of this little hedgerow situation here and have our recruits take open fire on their other recruits. Hopefully gaining a superior advantage. That'd be wonderful. We can bring the general back over here behind the recruits because they're more likely to need him. Alright, recruits, come on. Get more kills. Alrighty, very nice, very nice. Gonna have to flank here. They're bringing their other recruits back. Good news is that means they're going to be facing our musketeers with the unit they brought back, and our recruits can flank them. They may run and break from this volley, however. Hopefully not. I really want the recruits to get there and do their thing. We'll see, though. I may have to order them not to do it real quick, just so our guys get a volley off. Alright, they got one. I'll let them shoot so they don't get shot at as bad. There we go. Fantastic. Oh yes, Frederick the Great. A lot of the French problems during this time were because of their mixed doctrine. They really didn't know what kind of doctrine they wanted to do. Do we want to use column or line formation? Do we want to rely on the bayonet more, or do we want to rely on fire more? They weren't quite sure. That did not work out as well for them. Alright. money and ammo again. Let's do this. Get more recruits, and we're going to be set to go here soon. Getting more weaponry, more equipment. We'll give the reload to the musketeers as well. Ammo consumption might be alright for now. Keep that for later. Keep this for later. These canteens I like to give either to grenadiers or, more importantly, to artillery. People may not realize, but artillery needs stamina to stay in the battle longer, to be firing at the enemy more. Alright, feud, weapons or volunteers. We're going to do reservists because, first of all, reservists are more expensive for us, but also weapons in Act 1 are kind of crap, and I don't need more at the moment, really. So we're going to do reservists. Alright, let's go check this town out and get the encampment. I would do forest march to save on our time, but we don't have a whole lot of food at the moment. Check out the barracks. Nah. Recruits are more expensive here anyway. Item cost is up. You go ahead and buy a little bit of food just to be sure that we don't run out. That would not be ideal. It'd be suboptimal, that's for sure. Alright. Hit up the encampment. Unguarded campsite. We're going to ransack it. And yeah, I know it says tough enemy field army. I think we can do it. Dragoon swords. Now, perhaps I'm wrong. They have 4 recruits. 2 line infantry, cavalry, and artillery. That is tough. That is tough. I guess we'll find out. Is this going to be the end of the campaign, or are we going to win this battle? Let's see. Hopefully we get good ground. We get good ground, we can win this. Just need cover. Ah, look at that. So we have a river. We have a town over here on this side. We have another river over here with marsh. That's going to be difficult to get to, though, possibly. We're definitely going to take advantage of this one here. We're going to have to use the full capability of our troops in order to win this one. Which means the grenadiers and the musketeers doing work. Not gonna focus as hard on the recruits this time. Don't really have that luxury. See what the enemy does here. Alright, let's see. Recruits, Fusiliers. That might be somewhat rough. The Fusiliers on the side with my recruits. I'm going to change that. As well as moving the Grenadiers over to this side. I really need the Grenadiers to, well, maybe not. The Grenadiers can roll this flank. There goes that artillery already damaging. Wow, almost 50 guys already in one volley. Oof. It's brutal. Can't deal with the artillery this time, though, like we did last time, because of the enemy cavalry. Not an option. Not something we can do. Alright, let's see. They're coming up here now. Yikes. Almost lost 100 men already. That's rough. Rather have them shoot at the recruits, though, than the musketeers or the grenadiers right now. The thing about artillery is you generally want to shoot elite units with artillery rather than weaker recruits and things like that. Considering the artillery doesn't really care who it hits, it just rolls, tumbles, blasts, and wrecks troops up. It doesn't really care. They are trying to flank us on both sides, not that I can blame them. Alright, wow, they have pretty good range on us too in this one. Definitely going to be using the Grenadiers to our full effect as much as possible. Hopefully they can take these guys on without too much difficulty. Getting a flank attack is definitely helpful. Alright, it looks like their cavalry might be coming in. We need to hold fire a moment. Not great, because the recruits were trying to help the Grenadiers. But it's fine, it's better than getting annihilated by enemy cavalry, so there is that. They're outranging our Fusiliers. That is not something that I wanted to see happen. It's alright though. We are defeating these recruits. They are charging our recruits. About ready to fire. Fire. Alright, blast them, boys. Nice. Alright, that's not too bad. We broke these guys, so we need to move on to the next batch. Hopefully the Grenadiers don't get too tired before that. We can countercharge with the General to help out a smidge. Wonderful, wonderful. Alright, they are engaging them. They're retreating. Causing a rout. Very good, very good. Grenadiers can probably deal with the other one now, too. I'm going to try to move up some and flank those Fusiliers. Show them what's what for what they just did. Seeing they were outranging and shooting our Fusiliers for a moment there. Come on, Grenadiers. Get them. Have the General keep chasing their cav so that they don't do what they did and come back to chase us down. That would not be good. Our Musketeers are getting shot in the flank by the recruits. That's not ideal. And our Grenadiers are exhausted. That's also not great. And our General is getting stuck. That's even worse. Alright, managed to throw off their unit there. And they're getting stuck. Sometimes melee does some funny things. See what we can do here. They're so tired. Morale on our Musketeers is getting dangerously low. Considering they're getting shot at by 2 sets of Fusiliers. It's not great. I'm going to pull them back again. Open fire with the Grenadiers. Awesome. Causing them to retreat. Ah, there goes our Musketeers retreating. That's not what I wanted. It's alright. Hopefully they'll return to the fight. That should help. Part of the issue I have right now is the exhaustion of my troops. Not something I want. And the enemy artillery is a huge problem also. I think that unit... Oh, thank God they came back right before they went off the board. That could have been rough. Alright, we're going to move up here and see what we can do. We have the other two Fusiliers trying to flank us. That is suboptimal. Oof, Grenadiers just took a volley. Hopefully they'll get one out soon. Although they're about to get flanked. Let's see what we can do. Alright, we're going to charge. Let's see. 34 and 39. Let's try to get in position to set ourselves up here real good. Hopefully they'll break those recruits in the charge. Still getting shot at from behind. That's painful. All right. Yeah, we're suffering a lot more casualties in this one than we had been. It's alright. We're running them off. I'm going to try to get the general to take out their artillery battery. He's tired, though. Grenadiers need to stop being in melee with those guys, if at all possible. Shattered that unit. That's good. That means they won't be returning. Need to move up so we can finish them off. Looks like they're getting ready to shoot. Oh, I hope not our general. Looks like they're getting ready to shoot our grenadiers again. That would be suboptimal. We are getting ready to shoot their Fusiliers in the flank, however, which is good. Very nice. Yeah, that had a massive damage effect. Grenadiers took a heavy hit. They're still getting hit by artillery. Thankfully, they are in the woods. That does help some. Ooh, look at that. Man, those musketeers are putting in the work. That is fantastic. Very good. Only thing they have left is the artillery. That was quite the bloody battle, however. Nice. We got him. Very good. Very, very good. Definitely a good thing we padded our reservists there. Definitely going to need those after that battle. Almost 1,000 casualties. Not bad considering what we were up against. The artillery got almost 500 kills. So that shows you just an example of how much of an effect that had on them. On that battle there, let's see. Over 1,200 kills for the Grenadiers. Man, I love Grenadiers. Alright. Same thing. Money and ammo. Look at all those levels. That's fantastic. Alright. We can upgrade to subsidy recruits now. Could get artillery. Hanoverian Landemilits. Let's see. Hessian Musketeers. 2035. 3025. 25 and 40 reload. Ooh, them Brunswickers, man. I think those are my favorite. Yeah. I think we're doing the Brunswickers again. I like having them as foot, by the way. I don't necessarily always want them becoming Grenadiers or Jaegers down here in this lower section of the tree. I mean, I will have some like that, but I also need Fusiliers. I like accuracy, but that reload is just fantastic. We will need Jaegers at some point, but that's not what I'm going to do right now. You have a cover bonus to our Musketeers. Alright. Lots more items. We're probably going to start selling some of them, so we don't need all that. Especially considering we're getting better gear here soon. Alright. Let's head down here. Get some recruits. Yeah. We got Redcoat recruits, but not subsidy recruits. Them Highland Grenadiers are pretty fantastic. Alright, well, guess we'll sell some stuff. Let's see, Hussar Sabres. Yeah, we'll keep the Hussar Sabres. Hungarian, 4 and 4, 6. Yeah, we'll keep the Hungarian. That looks good. Yeah, we'll do that. Alright, that looks good. And that gives us a good amount of money to recruit some more troops. I'll buy a little bit of food there also, just to be sure we don't run out of it. Alright, let's get some more of these convoys here. Smugglers, we can series it for basic, or we can pay for excellent. We're going to pay for excellent because the excellent spirit rations for $70. Alright, wonderful, wonderful item for Grenadiers. Absolutely wonderful. See, now we can have a basic one that we can sell. Alright, wonderful. Okay. Head over to the slums. You know, go ahead and take care of this northern frontier area. Alright, so here, roving mercenaries, yes. Local intelligence for patrol armies, every army, or sabotage. We're going to do sabotage. We want as much time as possible in Act 1 before the headquarters fights us. We're definitely doing the sabotage. That $10 a day you can see coming into effect there. That's wonderful. Alright, supply train. Set it ablaze, lose ammo, and get the HQ delay or get 4 items. I like the items in the weak field army, but I want the weak. So we're going to do that. We're just going to keep getting this stuff over here. Requisition. Oh, yeah. There we go. Because this one we lose the HQ comes a week faster, but we get items. Again, if this were Act 3 or something, I'd totally probably do this because the items would be legendary. Not going to happen. I'm going to do this one for the week delay. Just because I want more time to explore. I want more time to go through the map. Get what I want. Can't do this one. We get a special regiment, but we don't have any kind of quartermasters or anything like that, so not an option at the moment. Cool, we prayed for him. Edmund O'Hara, he recovered. Wonderful. What does he got? Agile, stamina recovery, and veterancy gain. Not bad. Let's see what we can get with Von Vogtgenau. Accuracy, reload, or melee. We're going to do melee damage because he's already got 2 that are more melee inclined. That's wonderful. We'll replace him with O'Hara for now, though, because of the veterancy gain. Well, probably. Alright, we got an army heading towards us. They're going to catch us. They're a fairly large army. I think they'll catch us. Abandoned goat, yes. Nearby farmstead long abandoned. Our foragers came across a most determined goat, bold enough to enter camp and help itself to a drummer's rations. Since become a source of amusement and it's already following the men about like a sentry. We may adopt it as a regimental beast or leave it be. Troops seem fond of the idea. Alright. We can keep him, but because we have coffers over corpses, we're good British folk. Adopt Billy Goat mascot. Receive $130. We're going to do that for sure. Get some money in the Billy Goat. Billy Goat's fantastic. 10 morale, 6 accuracy. As you can see, the accuracy on our units is not the most amazing. I'm going to unlock an extra slot for each one of these troops, by the way, so I can give them extra crap. Alright, they're getting the goat. So their morale and their accuracy goes up significantly. I'll give them the veterancy gain, even though they don't necessarily need it. Since I'm going to keep them as musketeers, most likely, I'm not going to be needing the upgrades for, like, raising them up in a troop type, to grenadiers or Jaegers. But they can still level up, which increases their stats, so we'll go ahead and take advantage of that. Alright, boys. We're going to fight this army. See what we can do to these guys. Oof. Alright, so you got 2 cav, artillery, 3 recruits, and 2 Fusilier line troops again. Alright, this probably be a very tough battle, just like the last one. It's a tougher field army. Especially without us having gotten more troops yet. However, this time our troops are a little bit better than they were last time. So we'll see how that does. Hopefully, I can get the general around to get the artillery before they do as much damage as they did last time. Alright, we do not have a river to defend easily. If we try to go for this one, we might barely get across it before they come after us. We could defend the town, but then they could also get cover from the woods. So we're going to move our men up to take advantage of these woods as quickly as possible. I think. Let's see. They do outnumber and can flank us, so... Interesting. Let's see. Where else could we go? Try to get them in the open and give us as much cover as possible. Yeah, I think we'll hold this position. Alright, let's move up. Don't want to keep my men in column too long because their artillery would absolutely love that, which is not something I'm going for. Alright, let's see. Get them in an ideal position over here. I think that'll cover that fairly well. Get our grenadiers set up over here so we can take on their flanks. Need to remember to turn off the bayonets. If you turn off the bayonets, they get a small accuracy buff. It's like 5. It can be more micro than some people want, especially when you have a larger army. But I like to do it, and then put bayonets back on when you're preparing for melee. There's also some historical precedent for that as well, actually. Certain bayonets were harder to shoot with, and it was harder to load your weapon with bayonets on, especially earlier bayonets. They weren't set up quite as efficiently. Made it more difficult to work with them. Alright, they do outrange us a little bit, especially with those Fusiliers. I don't like that. I do not like them getting volleys off on us when we can't get volleys on them. I don't like that at all. We are messing up their recruits. I'm going to have to order them to hold, though, because here comes the cavalry. Let's see what happens. We're going to have to order a volley in here. The annoying thing is we got both cav coming in. And yet... Huh. I think I gotta shoot the other one, honestly, because I think the other one was trying to come after my other cavalry, but we'll see how effective all of that is. Not sure. Cool, they got ran off by our musketeers, and they'll get run off also. That's really good. Good. Alright, this at least gets us... They got a good volley on us, but this at least gets us in a position where we can fight back against them and offer them a volley also. Grenadiers are going to be charging in over here. I'm going to get my commander to come over here so I can take care of the arty. We saw how much damage they did to us last time. Awesome. My grenadiers are getting there, getting shot a little bit. Not too bad. Alright, commander, come on, get a move on. Try to take them off of sprint as soon as possible, so they'll absolutely wear themselves down. Need to turn to face the enemy proper, since they're going to take care of those other recruits. Wonderful. That worked beautifully. Alright, that flank is dealt with. Ah, the cavalry is coming back. That is absolutely not a good thing. Trying to kill my general. Hopefully he can get back there in time. My grenadiers can absolutely hoodwink these freaking cavalry. If they can shoot, that'd be great. Awesome, but not quite enough. They'll kill them on impact, though, most likely. Almost assuredly. Look at that. Alright, downside is they didn't get to try to go and kill the artillery yet because of that. Alright. Either way, we will. We will do this. Okay. Offering fire. They're still getting the better of us in that exchange. Hopefully that will change here shortly. Alright, grenadiers are going to come up to flank. That's going to help a lot. I want to make sure they're not too tired before I charge them in again. If you charge in and you get exhausted and a unit's not exhausted and they can hold the line against you, that can be a huge, huge problem. Awesome. The general just took care of them. As soon as they fire their last volley that they're going to do here as the Grenadiers, I'm going to have them charge in. Hopefully before a volley gets off. Yep, they'll get them before the volley gets off. It's wonderful. Alright, let's adjust our troops so we're getting the most out of our volleys here. Don't like to run my troops too often, but situations like that I definitely will. I'm going to charge the Fusiliers and try to get them to break. If we can get them to give in, it's very much easier against the single Fusilier unit. There we go. Those Grenadiers are putting in work again. And they're going to shatter them. Wonderful, which means they won't be joining in the fight again. That's fantastic. I'm going to let them come to the back of the line here real quick now. We've already had enough enemy fire coming in at them. And of course, our lines won then. Wonderful. That was a glorious battle there. That was wonderful. It would have been hard for that to have gone better than that. Didn't do everything perfectly, but it worked out well. See, tough field armies, you don't have to fear them as long as you kind of know what you're doing. You want to use the terrain to your advantage, and you need to know the different unit types and what their strengths and weaknesses are. Now, it would be a lot more dangerous coming up here soon with a new update that Armchair Historian is going to do for his game, which is going to cause the cavalry to not charge the front as much. Instead, they're going to be doing more flanking. The AI is smarter. It'll try to envelop you more. It'll be a lot scarier with that. So something to keep in mind. I'm going to go for the money and the ammo again. All right. Nice level ups again. Increase the abilities of our troops, even if we're not necessarily going to be raising them up more per se. Cover bonus and max range. It's not too bad. Chevaux de Frise. Sometimes you want one of these in your inventory also. One of the field bonuses for some of the events can come in handy. Alright. That's the enemy headquarters. I don't know that I want that just yet. The good news about having so few units right now is we are not using a lot of food. Wild horses, wild horses. 2 good horses. That's not bad for a start. 90 provisions, 2 pelts. Now I'm going to go for the good horses, because they can fetch a pretty penny too if I need them to. Start going back westward again. Alright. Close to completing our objectives. Auxiliary camp. This is wonderful. This is a chance for us to get a type of unit we normally wouldn't be able to acquire. Freikorps recruits, Grenzers, Cossacks, Germans, and Frenchmen. Alright. Might like the Frenchmen. Get good Fusiliers that are good at shooting, or you can get the French heavy cavalry. That would be something. I think we'll go for that. I think we'll get French heavy cavalry. Might be the play. Yeah, let's do the royal recruits. Alright, now we'll give them things that give them experience gain. That way They won't absolutely suck. They'll just suck a little bit. Just a little bit. Them the billy goat, actually, so their accuracy isn't dog crap. I mean, well, it's still dog crap, but it's like golden dog crap now. Alright, let's get the encampment down here. Forlorn Hope. Volunteers as opposed stand ready to sell their lives dearly. Should serve a greater cause. Volunteers strike an enemy's command from behind. Yep, we don't have the bonus here. That would be absolutely amazing for 3 extra weeks. But you have to have light infantry tactics or local guides, which we don't have. So we're going to do HQ delayed by 2 weeks. Lose 2 days and 150 ammo by training them. Yes, we're definitely going to do that. Can't take on this army just yet. We're going to wait on that while we head west again. Alrighty. Fresh recruits, fantastic. So this is what I was talking about before. You can get recruits with those items in our inventory, worn uniforms. Now, if we had a silver gorget or gorget, we get line infantry, but we can only get recruits right now. We're going to do the recruits because I don't know if we'll be back to this point to get them. And we have a good amount of reservists, so we're going to do that. Wow, that's fantastic too, because this technically, I mean, yeah, it's recruits, but it's Hanoverian land millets, which is wonderful. That's one level higher than recruits, so that's not bad at all. 40, 30, 35, 20, but they have 1,000 versus... Okay. I think I want the Hanoverians to remain as line infantry also. We'll see, though. Alright, let's get a move on here. Head on down to these slums. Sell off lots of provisions. Yeah, not great. We'll need to buy more. But I don't want to do just a little and upset the troops. Smugglers. Yeah, we're going to purchase the excellent wine. Any other grenadiers we get in the future will thank us for that. Going back to this settlement. Alright, perfect. Definitely buying some food. And subsidy recruits. One thing we got to do, we got to open up a new brigade. Which, because we're England, costs more. But that's okay. We need it now because we have more troops. Alright, we're going to move the recruits over here. Actually, he's the one for the... Okay, I already swapped them. That's the problem. Now I'm going to move the recruits over there. So they get veterancy gain with O'Hara. He's not the greatest general, but the veterancy gain will help our troops right now. I'll split the veterancy gain items between our different troops here. Give them extra range. They all have really crap morale too. Oh well. Alright. It's all good. Got more recruits. Recruit. Okay. Yeah, we're going to keep all of them here. Wonderful. So we have all the recruits in his army. That's perfect. Alright. I'm going to purchase a new brigade also. We're going to make some sales. Awesome. Alright, wonderful, wonderful. Don't like buying basic or anything items. Now I have 10,000 men. This army that was chasing us is going to go, oh, frick, no, we actually don't want battle. Too bad you're getting battle. You done chased us. We'll go ahead and do this battle, and we'll call it a day today, guys. And then in the next episode, we will continue Act 1, which I think is going very, very well for our troops. The goal is we're going to try to finish up our objectives, get our special unit with the Royal House Guard Cavalry, I believe it was, and our doctrine for the Grenadiers. Then we're going to try to take out as many forts and encamped armies as we can to unlock as many doctrines as possible to head into Act 2. The difficulty between Act 1 and Act 2 can be substantial, to say the least. So definitely really important to try and make sure that we're as prepared as possible. The more prepared you are, the better you do in Act 1, the more painless that you'll find Act 2 to be. Which, again, is pretty huge. Alright, so we're going to keep these recruits. We're going to keep our musketeers ready in the event that they are needed and we can rapidly pull them up. They're going to stay in reserve, however, because simultaneously we don't really want them taking losses, and we don't want them taking all the kills. We really want our kills to be acquired for our troops from our recruits. So I'm going to try to have my recruits do most of the fighting. See how that goes. Hopefully fairly well with the terrain. The terrain's not too bad. We get to anchor our army on this river, and there's marsh here and stuff. It's not going to be fun for them to try to maneuver around and do anything with. And of course the buildings and structures give us defense. Now, they'll get some of that as they're trudging through this and marching through this, but not to the same degree as our troops will. Here they come, they're approaching. I'm going to try to come against our two lines primarily, and then I'm going to move men up to really take care of them. See, they're folding their line just a little bit to face our front line there. That's awesome. That's exactly what I want. Alright, they're getting ready to charge their cavalry again. So we are going to be taking the recruits off of auto fire for a moment. Ooh, wow, they really gave us a strong volley there. That's not great. General needs to come over here a minute. Wow. Alright. Get ready to fire. Hold fire. Fire. There you go, boys. Hold the line. Hold the line. Hold the line. General can charge in there a little bit and help them out, just to give them a morale boost and take down the morale of the hussars. Yeah, it's not great. Sometimes the cavalry, and with really crappy recruits, which subsidy troops and the French, for example, have really crappy recruits. See, they retreated. Not the most ideal scenario, but that's okay. We'll move up the musketeers who were in reserve just for that very purpose. We ran off their cavalry, so it's not that big of a deal. Alright, subsidy recruits are back, and I'm going to have them come around here so they can flank. That's going to be pretty good. These guys still kind of facing the frontal part of the enemy. I might adjust them to flank, but that's going to take longer for them to move across that water. It's alright, though. Enemy cavalry is coming back for round 2. They're no longer satisfied with retreating from the field. Our subsidy recruits just retreated. Wonderful. So up come our musketeers that are reserves. Oh shoot, I forgot to turn them off of the cavalry charging. Alright, well they'll just have to take charge up front. Oh, don't do that. And of course they're routed already. Wonderful. Alright, get back in position, men. Get back in position. What are you doing? You're leaving your positions and getting shot. That is not what I want you to do. You can open fire on them now, you know. That'd be wonderful. Nice flanking damage right there. Move our other reserves up in the event that they're needed. Move back these Brunswicker reserves. Try to get more kills from these guys. Move the Brunswickers back, move the general back, let the recruits have their field day. Oh, I guess they got engaged in melee somehow. Alright, that's fine. Troops over here are holding up fairly well. We're getting shot in the flanks somewhat, but we're about to go deal with that problem. Let's see how many kills they have. 280, 250 casualties. Not too bad. Not great, but not too bad. Give them the charge order there. They're going to move up to open fire on the enemy. The general's going to move up to support the charge order. This enemy is already retreating due to our troops over here. The royal recruits are doing excellently in this battle. Alright. Look at that. Charge them in for good measure just to get that extra route there going before we lose more men. Take them off of melee. There we go. Move the general up here just to be sure they're good. And we're going to order them to just run them down. Oh, they returned to the fight, did they? Ooh, they outrange us. Taking shots at our royal recruits. Interesting. It's alright. It's alright. Gonna break the unit in the center here soon from continued fire from all of our units. Trying to stop and fire at the Royal Recruits again, which are getting tired for going through the water. So we were trying to make them do in the previous battles was that same thing right there. Stay with them, General. They're ready to rout almost. Order them over there to help and order them to charge. There you go, boys. Come on. Alright, Royal Recruits, time to move up and take them down. You get flanking fire from your fellow recruits. You guys kill as many dudes as you can before the battle ends. Alright, they're going to get a volley from the Royal Recruits and then the Subsidy Recruits. Here we go. Nice volley, very nice volleys. There we go. Very good. Letting them chase them down. Normally I wouldn't because I want better rewards. But because I'm trying to get them leveled up, we're going to go ahead and let them just keep slaughtering them until this unit breaks, which is just about now, honestly. Alright, as soon as they fire, they're just about to fire. That unit is not going to last past one more volley. There we go. Alright, that wasn't too bad a battle. We took more casualties than we're used to. But they were recruits. They got a good amount of kills. They're going to level up fairly quick. That's what we're going for. We want our troops to be elite and leveled. Plus, we do have a good pad of reservists there, so that's not going to hurt us too badly. Cav got 300. Their Grenza recruits got 300. 200 there. 215. 155. Pretty good, though. Pretty good effort from our troops. Alright. Get the veterancy and provisions this time. We need some more provisions, and I don't want to run out. I don't want to burn all our money to keep buying it either. Sweet level ups. Alright. Move this down here. Keep some semblance of organization going here. This is good for infantry troops. This is good for artillery. Alright. O'Hara. Let's see what we can get for you, O'Hara. Volley fire replaced with fire by rank. Yeah, let's do it. You're not the greatest commander, but that's a pretty cool ability, so we're going to get that. Alright, so we went up last time. I'm going to go back down here and get the convoys and such that's down here real quick. I know I said after that battle I'd take us off, but I want to get this done real quick before I forget about it. Were there Subsidy recruits? I don't recall. No, okay, cool. We'll be selling a couple things. Just a couple. Alright. Get the convoy. Need a few more things to slow down the enemy HQ again. Shake them down aggressively. All right. Got the British Grenadiers Doctrine. That's good. And we have an army to fight for the next time we start this. Alright, my friends, I'm going to call it here. Next episode, we'll go ahead and continue. We're at day 116 out of 185. It's getting close. We got to finish our objectives and try to get as many doctrines as we can. We'll see how we do. Thank you for joining me for the first episode. And I'll see you next time. God bless.